Happy Easter Sunday to you. I want to thank everybody for staying with the channel, all the new subscribers. I know I haven't put out anything new for a while. We're still banned from going live. Of course, any excuse that YouTube can use in order to keep the black conservative from actually delivering the truth to you, that's what they're going to do. Today is Easter again. It is the 21st and of April 2019. And I want to talk about one of the most corrupt governments in this world, which is the Mexican government. Before we get into that, we got to get into this.
Please be mindful this show is for 18 years of age and older. All copyright laws will be respected, but this show is intended to use the Fair Use Act of it. Thank you very much. Please do remember that the New Right Party channel and the New Red Party show is sponsored by patriots like you. And as long as you're sending these donations, it allows me to create the content that will continue to make these motherfuckers sick. As you were.
He's on fire! Two versus the family and my family entertainment and his team no sleep. Flossy high and yeah we made it. The haters keep on hating on the songs that we be making, and I heard they want my soul. Illuminati wanna take it. Two versus the family and my family entertainment and his team no sleep. Flossy high and yeah we made it.
Please do remember that the New Right Party channel and the New Red Party show is sponsored by patriots like you. And as long as you're sending these donations, it allows me to create the content that will continue to make these motherfuckers sick. As you were.
He's on fire! Two versus the family and my family entertainment and his team no sleep. Flossy high and yeah we made it. The haters keep on hating on the songs that
Hey, everybody, this is a special edition. I'm sorry if the music kept going. I'm unable to really, without me, I got to get in here to really get this set up situated so I can just do some regular recordings. And then from that point on, I'll be able to deal with the production part of the show a little bit better so we can actually get these things up here. I do want to thank again everybody for being a part of this channel and, just being a part of the movement with everything that we're doing. Deeply appreciated. So, Mexico, one of the most corrupt governments in the world, they're disarming their residents. They do so knowing that their residents are being attacked by the cartels. So they're only strengthening the cartel's position. They're strengthening the cartel's capability, and they don't really care about having anything except for the cartel's money. So much so that the Mexican army, their armed forces, is actually working for the cartel as well. There is some speculation that Jay just recently pulled arms out on U.S. troops. Of course, they outnumbered them because if they didn't, then no U.S. troops would lower their arms. But of course, they went across the border, came on our side, drew their arms on United States troops, disarmed them, and it's believed that they did this in order to allow the cartel to move drugs across the border. And there's more instances of them crossing our borders and having instances like this than our troops going across the border, period. Let's get into it. Let this commercial go by. I don't wanna
Here's yet another example. There is yet another example of tensions boiling over at our southern border. U.S. defense officials confirming Mexican troops drew weapons on and questioned 2 American soldiers on the U.S. side of the border. In a statement, the U.S. Northern Command explaining, quote, an inquiry by the CBP and DOD revealed that the Mexican military members believed that the U.S. Army soldiers were south of the border. So how does something like this happen? Here to explain is President of National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Brandon, thanks for being here. So if you don't have a wall or the border seems ambiguous, then something like this conceivably can happen.
This story should be very disturbing to all American citizens. Pete, you've covered the border for many years now. Yep. You know that these things just don't happen by accident. And I don't know one Border Patrol agent that is going to accept that story that the Mexican military thought that these National Guardsmen were in Mexico. We have hundreds upon hundreds of incursions by the Mexican military into the United States, yet we have very few incursions by Border Patrol agents into Mexico. So if this border was so ambiguous, you would have incursions on both sides, and that's just not what happens.
Why do we see incursions from the Mexican military on our soil?
It's very simple. We have case after case after case where it is believed that the Mexican military is performing diversion tactics for criminal cartels in order for them to smuggle drugs or high-value contraband into the United States. Again,
high-value contraband like people, like sex slaves, like slave workers.
Think about what they did. They entered the United States. They pointed guns at our National Guardsmen. They disarmed our National Guardsmen. They held our National Guardsmen for a period of time. There were many crimes that were committed by the Mexican military, and so now we have to look at what was the underlying reason why they did this. And the evidence and all of the different incursions clearly points to this potentially was criminal cartels that were orchestrating a diversion tactic in order to smuggle narcotics into the United States.
It's amazing. And I absolutely believe it based on covering this, as you said, for a couple of years. But there are, as you watch this become a political debate, Brandon, you've seen Democrats, some of which dismissing the idea of borders, but at least Cory Booker recently brought a little bit of common sense. Listen.
We do have a problem with the southern border, and Democrats should not deny that we don't. Nations should have borders. Borders should be respected.
Nations should have borders. Borders should be.
But he was one of the main jackasses that was sitting there talking about he's for illegal immigration and, of course, allowing New Jersey to become a sanctuary city. See, they go out on the campaign trail and they tell you, Americans, everything that you want to hear, but they do absolutely nothing about it. Because if he felt this way, then why hasn't he passed any legislation whatsoever to help the president with the crisis at the border?
Be respected. It shouldn't be interesting for that statement to be dwelled upon, but based on where the Democrat Party is today, at least a little bit of common sense.
Yeah, you know, the question now is what's Cory Booker going to do? He's a legislator, and frankly, he's a very high-profile legislator. Is he going to work with President Trump, and is he going to come up with solutions in order to secure the border, or is he just going to say this and then do nothing about it down the road? Again, you know, this Mexican military incursion, this goes right into what Cory Booker said, and we look at this, the president of the United States, he's trying to secure the border. Is Cory Booker going to work with him, or is he going to give lip service to the issue?
And you think he will?
I frankly, I haven't seen any. Pete, you haven't seen any policy proposals from the left in order to secure the border. You know, they're saying it's a humanitarian crisis. It is a humanitarian crisis, but it is also a border crisis, and it's a narcotics crisis, and that's what they refuse to recognize. They're all going to say, well, these poor countries back in South America or Central America, that's potentially true, but we don't throw money at this problem. You have to secure the border. Is Cory Booker going to stand up and do that?
Well, it's Easter, so maybe anything can happen. If Jesus can rise, then maybe the Democrats can find him on the border. We'll see. Thank you very much, Brandon.
And he did rise.
He did, indeed. Thank you so much.
So, just breaking that down clearly, we had U.S. troops who had Mexican armed forces draw firearms and guns on them. And they did so possibly to help the cartels send drugs or people being human trafficked across our borders. And we have more instances where they're across our borders doing this type of same shit than us across their borders. Cory Booker now comes out and tells you that there's a crisis at the border, but he hasn't produced any legislation whatsoever or hasn't pushed any Democrats to join him in that to actually securing the border. I need you to wake up. It's Thanksgiving. Sorry, y'all. It's Easter, and it's Easter Sunday. I don't want to get into cursing a great deal. I want everyone to celebrate their Easter, and I want everyone to pray for the Christians that was just murdered in Sri Lanka. Let's get into that real quick. A blast occurred shortly before 9 a.m. local time in the cities of Colombo, Negombo, and Batacola. I believe that is Batacola. Authorities announced a nationwide curfew effective immediately and blocked Facebook and WhatsApp. They blocked Facebook and WhatsApp. They blocked it. They blocked it because they don't want you to know that this was terrorists, and I'm gonna say Islamic terrorists because they had they self-detonated themselves inside these churches and inside of hotels, and Indian authorities are saying that it was ISIS.
I want to express my deepest sympathies to all the people who lost their lives and who have been injured.
How is it that they can block Facebook, a social media platform just like this, so you don't get the information shared? So anything that they want to produce or put out in order to take away from that actual truth can be done with no problem. No problem.
On the phone right now, we have a witness to the 7th bombing, which happened at a hotel near a zoo. Acela Waidilan-Kara joins us now. She is just south of Colombo. Acela, tell us what you saw.
Hi, yes, we were watching the news telecast of the blast that happened in Colombo. And suddenly, near my residence, we heard a strong sound of an explosion. So I rushed up to my rooftop to observe what was going on. And I observed the smoke belching from a location about 1 kilometer or less away from us. This is the closest landmark is the National Zoo of Sri Lanka. And we noticed within a few minutes, there was a helicopter that approached the location to do a sweep. And then within a few more minutes, we could hear ambulances and fire trucks coming into the area. So we, at that moment, realized this was probably a larger attack in connection to the chain of attacks that we witnessed. Incidentally, so the news wires picked it up, and they said that 2 people had died in that particular explosion, as well as it was connected to part of the explosions that were happening in Colombo and other areas.
How far have you been able to get outside the area where you are? I mean, what have you been able to see?
Well, it's a little difficult because usually what happened is immediately after the 7th blast, within a space of 30 minutes, there was a firefight in another area called Demetakola, which is another Colombo suburb. And police initially said the curfew was enforced from 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning for tomorrow. But then they revised that, saying that the curfew was enforced immediately and indefinitely. So that basically we were advised by law enforcement not to step out of our houses and to remain indoors.
So, Acela, we know that the government has shut down access, we're told, to sites like Facebook and Instagram. So, where are you getting most of your information? Is it coming from television, radio?
We are switching back to, unfortunately, mainstream media because usually I think most of urban Sri Lankans now consume their news from either social media or.
He said, unfortunately, we have to get it from mainstream media.
Or basically social media, Facebook to be exact. So, but right now the government has basically blocked Facebook's daughter companies, so Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, as well as Viber. So those are the popular messaging and social media platforms in Sri Lanka. So those are completely not reachable at this moment. However, some citizens are using VPNs to circumnavigate the block, but then still it's a little difficult to communicate. So you're reverted back to traditional local media channels for news and information.
Acela, I want to ask you, our hearts are broken for all of you there. I wonder what your reaction is to what happened.
This is absolute grief and shock because we had a bad terrorism for the last 30 years.
The blood on the walls.
And actually, next month it would have been 10 years of complete peace in this country and no incidents. So we as Sri Lankans are shocked and heartbroken, but yet we will persevere. And my mind harks back to the time when the National Blood Service said that there was a shortfall of blood. Basically, there was an outpouring of people to the National Blood Center to give blood, so much so that they had to turn people away. And I think that speaks to the character of this country.
I feel bad for anyone that lost their lives in the Muslim attack, but it is clear that the mainstream media could give no cares whatsoever about Christians in this world. This is Easter Sunday, the most important Christian holiday that there is. The most important Christian holiday that there is, aside from Christmas. And this happens. Over 200 people killed, including American citizens. The media is not saying there should be a ban on explosive devices being sold or components that can make these bombs and so on and so forth. No, not at all. There is no clear coverage of just how persecuted Christians are all around this world. And they will not cover this like they did that Muslim attack. Pray for Sri Lanka. It's important that we do. I'm sorry to have to report this to you on Easter, but I mean, I have to. This is the job that I have. This is the job that I'm doing. I want to tell you to stay safe, stay healthy, stay American, and remember, we need to pray for the other side. We care.